Okay, well, welcome everyone. Today we have a very fun, well, maybe not fun topic, but a different topic. We're not showing a tech tool today. We're going to have more of a discussion, and I'm going to try to have these sort of discussion sessions, at least like once a week during the lunch and learn, because I think we're all in the same boat and we're all trying to figure this out together, and why not come together and put brains together? So if you're joining, make sure you mute yourselves because I can hear some feedback right now. And what we're going to start off with is I'm going to share my screen. So today's topic is all about remote learning attendance strategies. And I sent out an email the other day just asking for people to, like, what are you doing? I'm curious. I've heard some things here and there, and I got quite an awesome response. So thank you for all of you that responded with some ideas. And I'll share that whole list out with you as well. I also invited those who responded to join today to kind of personally share out. And so we have some people joining right now. But the first thing I wanted to kind of go over was the continuity of learning plan, which all of your administrators had shared with you. Let me get my screen shared. And so this is something that came from the state, just to be clear. So the state had this plan that everyone had to sort of in our district, we had to they had to figure out, okay, how do we do each element? And there were certain elements. It was like a chart. And so they spent a lot of time trying to figure this out, wanting to make sure they weren't overtaxing you and the parents. And so they came up with a plan. And the first part of the plan was about attendance. And the state has required us to take attendance and to keep track of attendance. So, okay, so how do we do this in this environment? And that's why we're meeting today. But I wanted to go over, can you see my screen? Okay, so I just wanted to go over that plan that was shared with you and just read these bullet points so that we know what we're looking at when we're going through this, and then kind of go from there. So for attendance, classroom teachers will enter weekly attendance into our student information system and Infinite Campus by 3 p.m. every Friday. So it's like a weekly thing. Classroom teachers, elementary, and advisors, secondary, will have a daily connection with each student. This may take the form of either a brief live morning meeting or another type of interactive virtual contact. If a student completes all of their learning menu assignments before the week is over, they will not be penalized as being absent for the remainder of the week as long as they continue to check in with the teacher/advisor daily. Students who are not responsive to school staff and or not completing assignments will be considered absent. So that's an important one. And then lastly, they are asking all families to contact a school administrative assistant or nurse if their child is ill or otherwise unable to participate for the day. Students who are not responsive to school staff and or not completing assignments will be considered absent. Okay, so I know there's been each school kind of interprets this a little differently as far as like how attendance is being taken and entered. But the strategies that the teachers are taking, I think, could be applied to all schools. So, and I'll share this link with you guys. So I from that email, I compiled this. So these are all the responses I got from everyone, and I'll share this link with you. And I broke it down by tool and the strategies they're using. So Google Classroom, some teachers are using a whole combination of different tools. Some are kind of just putting them in a spreadsheet. Some are just using email, Google Forms, Google Chat. We got Flipgrid on here, Google Meet or some other video meeting. And I think that's it. So today I've asked, so we got, let's see, Sarah's here and Alina and Claire from Proctor Middle School, High School, right? We have everyone. Is Claire here? I'm not sure I see Claire. But anyways, I know Alina and Sarah are here. And then we have, let's see, Karen and Barb Pennington. They are from West Rutland and they teach 6th grade. And then we have, I think Linda Mullen is here. Yep, Linda's here and she teaches kindergarten. And I'm not sure if anyone, do I see everybody? I'm not sure I see everybody on my, but anyways, if you also have a strategy that you want to share, you are more than welcome to raise your hand and jump in. Okay, so I'm going to first share this document so everybody has the link. And then, okay, so I'm going to put that in the message box. And those who are watching it like a recorded version, I'm going to put the link in the comments like on YouTube. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to invite Sarah and Alina to come on out and share what they've been doing.
Alrighty. I guess I'll go first. So for those of you who don't know me, I teach high school science in Proctor, and at our school we already have advisory groups for divvied up by grade levels. So we adjusted them a little bit, but our groups that we're doing attendance are based on our advisory groups, and those are the groups that we do our PLP work with. So I have juniors normally always. So I have a group of juniors that I'm doing attendance for. What I talked to my group about and what we decided to do is they're juniors, so they like to sleep in, some of them. Some of them are up early in the morning, but plenty of them get up right when we're going to start our meet. So we decided to do a daily Google Meet at 11 a.m. That way the ones who want to can sleep in. And so in Google Meet, I set up a nicknamed meeting. For those of you who saw Erica's stuff about Google Meet, they changed it. So if you set up a nicknamed meeting and you're the last one to leave, the kids can't reuse the link. So because it needs to be unique, my last name is Wehoff. Nobody else in our district has that name. So I'm using just Wehoff as their name to get into the meeting. So, they all know me really well. So they just know at 11 o'clock, they hit Google Meet, they type in Wehoff, click enter, voila, there they are. So it's really easy for them to get into, and it's not like this whole cumbersome process of where to go. Once they're in the meet, we kind of all say hi to each other. How's it going? Who just woke up? Who's been up since 8? That kind of thing. And then what I have them do is just tell me their school plan for the day. So the ones who are up earlier tell me what they already accomplished prior to our group meeting and what they're planning to do to finish up for the day. The ones who just woke up tell me, they, at this point, they know like, oh, I should probably check Google Classroom before I go into the daily meet so that I can say what my assignments are for the day. So they kind of say like, oh, I've got to, read this thing for English. I have to do this for history. I have to do this for math. So they kind of tell me like, these are the things I'm going to work on today. If any of the kids ever can't do 11 o'clock, because for example, some of them have jobs. So like one of my students right now, he's actually at work right now. He had to go in at 10:30 this morning. So we did his check-in before he went to work. So when they have like an appointment or a job, they just let me know and we just do a quick check-in either before or after. I just told them that it has to happen sometime between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. Because that's our, a normal school day time frame. So if they're not able to check in at any point during that window, then they're just absent for the day. And it's been working really well so far. Some of the kids who want to chat a little more after we're done doing everyone's check-in, they'll just stay in the meet with me and we'll just kind of talk about like this morning, one of the girls showed me she got a chameleon. So she was giving me a tour of her chameleon enclosure. So we just, just kind of the cool stuff like that, just to maintain those connections and relationships. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thanks, Alina.
Yeah.
That was great. Go ahead, Sarah.
So I'm in the same school as Alina. My TA is a group of freshman boys. And when I asked them about this attendance thing, they decided it would be better to check in asynchronously and not all have to be on a video call at the same time. So we're using Google Chat. I have a group message set up that has the 6 of them and me in it. And I gave them the option to either use that group chat or send me a private Google Chat message. They've all opted to use the group chat at this point, but they just let me know when they're up and getting started for the day and what they're planning to work on. And then if they're really vague about it, because sometimes all they write is "I'm here," then I just ask them follow-up questions in the chat until they've checked in and told me some sort of plan, or at least a content area that they're planning to focus on. And I told them that I need them to do that for me by 11 in the morning so that I have plenty of time to follow up if I haven't heard from anybody for the day. And then the other thing that our whole school is doing that I don't know if is unique to us or not, we have a Google spreadsheet set up for attendance where we can mark just the kids who don't report to us. And then our office bookkeeper / everything office person, who's amazing, puts in the attendance in Infinite Campus for us by Friday. So we just have to update the sheet for her, and then she's doing the Infinite Campus side of things. And it's been working pretty well so far. Sometimes they forget to check in, but it happens.
Thank you, Sarah. I like that idea of like only reporting those who are not like attending and versus everyone who is. So it makes it a little easier maybe to keep track of.
Yeah, and I'm going to jump back in. For us, we had the unique situation too, because of being a high school and a high school schedule. For Infinite Campus, we all have 8 periods a day to normally put in attendance. So it was going to be kind of a mess to try and figure out who to report what and when in Infinite Campus. So that's why we decided it was easier if just Kim does the Infinite Campus part, and that using that one spreadsheet was a way for us to very clearly give the information to Kim in an organized way so that she can just put in the attendance for the whole day as the admin side because she's got the admin side of Infinite Campus instead of the teacher side. So
awesome.
That's why we did it that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. So now I'm going to invite Barb and Karen. I think Karen's here. Are you here, Karen? I thought you were here.
Karen is here.
Oh, there you are. So introduce yourselves.
Karen, do you want me to go first or do you want to?
You can go ahead, Barb.
Okay. So Karen actually, she set this up, but I'll talk about it. We do a Flipgrid prompt every morning. We do a morning message greeting the students, and Karen and I, we share 28 students in 6th grade at West Rutland. So we take turns every other day. One of us does a morning message on Flipgrid with some kind of prompt. And the students go back, for those who may not be familiar with Flipgrid, they go back and they make their own video in response to our video. So for example, like one day I wanted a good laugh. I found 2 tongue twisters that they had to say 5 times fast. So they came back with their videos and they tried the tongue twisters. So, some of them are fun like that. Some of them may be a check-in. Like the other day, Karen and I both did our videos with information we wanted them all to hear. And then their response was, what feedback did they have for us? Or do they have questions for us? So it could be anything like that. So that's the main way we're trying to take attendance. Some students are not doing that. So we're also including if they have other contact with us, or if they have a special educator they work with, we're in contact with them too. If they have some sort of contact with any of the adults that they work with, we're counting them present for the day. And similar to what the 2 teachers just talked about, we have a spreadsheet, but it's just for our 6th grade. There's not one for the whole school, but we came up with a spreadsheet with all of 6th grade. So if I have contact with a student, I mark that they're present. If Karen has a contact, she would mark present. And then at the end of the day, whoever still has a blank spot next to their name, we mark them absent. So it's a little tricky because we share a larger group of students. It's kind of tricky to keep track of, but we, some of our students a majority of their work time is with the special educators, and they have not very much interaction with us currently. Karen, what else am I missing?
I don't really have much else that you're missing. I just think we try to tie it into a morning meeting, like, try to get some social games in there, like 2 truths and a lie, or a game called Aunt Minerva Likes. And I know I'm noticing that when I go ahead and plan the prompt, I end up trying to do something that's going to promote language. So I'm getting a little selfish in my prompts. I'm trying to get them to use words.
Oh, and something else that we do in addition to that is twice a week we have a Google Meets meeting, like this, a video meeting. So I think that's pretty much it.
All right, thank you. I like that. And if you haven't used Flipgrid before, you can either follow up with me. There's a lot of teachers that are using it. I think that was our first lunch and learn, actually, was Courtney showed us how to use Flipgrid. So that's on the YouTube channel as well. And you can go back and watch that. All right, our last presenter here is Linda Mullen. I'm going to invite you to come and share.
Yeah, hi, Erica and everybody. And, working with kindergarten, we really rely on the families to let us know that they're participating. So I've set up this Facebook group, and what I look for every day is I put a prompt up in the morning, and I look for them to like it or participate in the activity. One of the new ones I put up was I let them know that we had 450 books read so far on Epic. So I gave a challenge saying, well, let's see if we can get 650 books by the end of the year, which I'm sure we'll get. And if we can do that, I'm going to do some kind of a dance for you at our class meeting. So right away, I had 10 people like it. And I said, like this post if you want that to happen. And so it's great because they interact and they liked it or put a comment. So that's just one way to see what kind of participation I have. So I think participation and attendance kind of go hand in hand, don't they? So
Thank you, Linda. And Linda also did a lunch and learn, one of our first ones as well. And she talked about how she was using the Facebook group with her kindergarten students because they're so little. You need parental participation as well as student participation in order for any of this to work, which is extra challenging. So you can go back into the YouTube channel if you wanted to and see that one as well. I'm going to pause here to see if anybody has any questions for the presenters before I go on to the other list. And so we can look at other strategies as well. Okay, I don't think there is, but if you do, if something pops into your head, just you can use the chat window, or you can raise your hand on the top left-hand side of your screen. You have an extension there to raise your hand. So I'm going to go back and share my screen as again, and we are going to go look at that list together. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I had like, I think like 30-ish plus responses to this, which was awesome. And I just broke it down by category. I tried to figure out like how best to do this. But it looks like the biggest sections were a lot of people were using Google Classroom before this anyways, and are continuing to use it. And they have figured out how to kind of just use Google Classroom as a way to take attendance. And so a lot of these talk about creating a question. And there's a couple ways you could do that. You could just create a question right on the stream and take attendance that way just to see who responds. But there's another way that kind of sets it up as almost an assignment. If you go into the classwork tab and you hit that plus button to make an assignment, you'll see a section. You'll have like assignment and the materials and stuff like that and quiz. But there's also another one called question, and it keeps track for you how many have answered and how many haven't. Kind of like when you post an assignment, you can see who's turned it in and who hasn't. So the question feature in Google Classroom does that as well. So it keeps it really simple and easy. And they will just post a question, and a lot of them say they have to answer the question by the end of the day to get credit, and they get credit, and then they can mark them as being present. Let's see, like combination. I think Linda's one of those ones that uses a little bit of a combination because she's got, you know, such a diverse group with littles. Other people just kind of allow, you know, whatever kind of contact they make with me in the day, whether I notice they've done some work on an assignment or they've emailed me or they joined a Google Meets or they made a comment. They'll take any sort of contact as attendance, which is, I think a lot of those who might use, I know Barb and Karen said also like they use Flipgrid, but they also kind of keep track of like maybe Karen had contact with the student and they didn't do the Flipgrid really, but you know, that's okay. That counts as contact. So, and then another one here, they use different programs and you can see if they've logged into the program. So like Dreambox and Lexia and Epic, and you can see when the last time a student has logged into some of these programs and done any work. One person just kind of creates their own table in a Google Sheet or in a Google Doc and just ticks it off as they have made contact. Someone just asks them some for parents. So this is obviously one of those lower elementary teachers, just to email them every morning. Some have a Google form that they either email out or maybe they post on their Google Classroom that everyone has to fill out. That's another way that you easily collects their names and who's there. Like Sarah said, she uses Google Chat. There's a couple of people who do that. We have Flipgrid. And then the other popular one was Google Meets. So a lot of people do like quick Google Meets, or they have Google Meets 3 times a week, and that counts for them. Because the way it's worded on the continuity of learning plan, you know, by 3 p.m. every Friday. So it's like a weekly attendance. I mean, you are keeping track daily, but if you notice, like, you know, yeah, it's up to your professional discretion to know, like, okay, this kid was, you know, they did all of their work and they were mostly in contact with me almost every day. I'm going to count them as present. So, you know, you are the professionals and you know your students. And from what I've heard from a lot of people is the ones who are not present were a lot of the same ones who weren't really present before this all happened. So, you know, they know, you know, and if a student's not present, that's usually present, then you know something's probably wrong. Barb has a question here. So what strategies have people tried with students who don't have internet access? If your students don't have internet access yet, you should contact me because as far as I know, all of our students have internet access. The SU surveyed families, and of all the surveys we got back, of the ones that didn't, they made sure they got internet access, whether they've supplied them with a hotspot or helped to connect them with a low-cost internet service provider. So if you know of families that don't have internet access, you should be letting administrators know and the IT team know, because they should have it. So what do you mean by lost it, Barb? They said they did, but lost it. They lost the hotspot.
So my understanding is that they did have internet and then weren't able to pay for it any longer and it got disconnected.
All right. So you should tell Jay.
But they already know, and I was told to make packets for that student.
Wow.
So.
Because my understanding is, all right.
But we can investigate that further. That's not.
You're right. If you
take
want
airtime for that.
Yeah, because my understanding is we're trying to make sure everyone has internet.
Okay.
If they literally can get internet at their house, whether through a Wi-Fi, like cellular internet, or have access, I know they've gone out and got it. Am I correct on that, Al? Al's here too. That your understanding? That is his understanding as well. Okay.
Okay, I'll look into that further. Thank you.
Yep. All right.
I'm gonna pop in and chime in on that too. Like, I have a student right now who's taking care of her grandmother for a little bit. And her grandmother's house does not have internet, but she's only going to be absent for a short period for that. So I was just in touch with as I'm her advisor. So I talked to all of her other teachers, and they're just sending me a list of what she needs to do so that when she gets back home and she is back on her regular internet, that she and I are going to do like a makeup plan for how she can catch that up. So that's kind of like a weird in between.
Yep.
So
does she have a cell phone?
She does. So like we've been in touch, but it's difficult for her she doesn't have enough data to just do everything on her phone. And it's only for 1 week. So it was realistic for us to say like, okay, for 1 week, we'll just kind of compile stuff. And then she should be back next Monday. It's just this week that she's not.
Well, during this time, most major cell phone providers have removed the data caps. And so if she goes over her data, she won't be charged.
Yeah, it's also like the service is terrible there too.
Oh, okay.
So that's why she sent a couple of emails when she has to like take her in for appointments, but in town, then she'll send a message.
Yeah.
And back at grandma's house, it's like, okay, no contact for a little while, but.
And also, if you're like really struggling with Wi-Fi as well, or you know someone that their service is just so spotty like that, all of our schools' Wi-Fi internet is open, so you could like park outside the building on any of our schools to use the internet. Just so you know, in case that comes up. All right, we are at 12:30. Does anybody have any other questions? All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you to all the presenters who shared their strategies. Again, I'll be sharing this on the YouTube channel. So if you wanted to rewatch that, you can.
Thanks, Erica.
You're welcome. Have a good afternoon.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Erica. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye.